Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Dark
morning.
Side of the Stream. This is episode 216.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
216?
Getting the nod from Magic Tyler.
Isn't that some type of a Bible thing? 216?
316, buddy. 216. What's the 216 Bible verse, Tyler?
I don't know.
He knows 316.
I know 0 Bible verses.
Yeah, obviously. This week was my pick. It is the documentary series done by Discovery on either Hulu or Disney Plus. It's called Endurance, which is also the title of the book written about the Shackleton, Ernest Shackleton, by the way, is our guest today, expedition to the South Pole in the early 1900s. The Endurance was the name of the ship that they took. And keep in mind that when they did do this expedition, it was a wooden ship. It wasn't a steamer tank, wasn't metal,
Just
wasn't
getting
steel.
on the wooden ship would be sketchy.
There was steel in the ship, but again, this was an all wooden ship. Now, if I was to, I know Jay's never going to read a book in his life, but if you want to ever take any kind of piece of advice that I give, which take it with a grain of salt if you want, if you want to read the best nonfiction book you've ever read in your life, read Endurance.
Nonfiction. That means not true, right? So
but the funny thing, no, nonfiction. Fiction is truth.
So nonfiction is not true. So that means true, right? That's how I always remember it.
Fiction is false.
Not true.
Nonfiction is not false.
That's the way that.
That's the easiest way to do it.
No, my whole life I've gone not true. Okay, that's true.
Yeah, that makes sense, Homer Simpson. Either way, if you can't remember what fiction or nonfiction is, call Jay between the hours of 3 and 7, 417-863-7104.
We can talk about it. Oh, did I knock over your picture? Yes.
So anyway, the book Endurance is written by the captain of the Endurance. And then obviously, if you didn't know this, even though that Shackleton led the expedition, he wasn't the ship's captain. Normally, expeditions have a leader. They're like the executive producer. Yeah. They then gather all the pieces. They get the ship's captain, navigator, sign stuff, and all that. This was actually the second time I think he went to the South Pole in this specific expedition. He actually was almost the first person to reach the South Pole, but missed it by 97 miles. Oh. And then another year later, the two guys would go down there and beat him. The reason he didn't go was because he knew where he was, he knew how close he was, but he felt that if they continued on at that point, there would be loss of life, and it wasn't worth it to him, so he turned around and went back.
Good leader.
Like I said, if you want a lesson in what true leadership is, boom, Endurance.
I just don't understand them all. Like they said, hey, we want to go dig through ice for months on this wooden ship, and all these dudes signed up. Yeah, I'm in. Like,
well, I mean, because you got to think about it.
Why? What?
At that point in our history, you know, what a man was is completely different, an alien to what.
Yeah, big time.
Some guys in this world think what true masculinity are. These dudes, after being on a ship for 2.5 years, 20 plus of them marooned on an island in the winter in the Antarctica for 4.5 months, like this close to starvation and dehydration literally every single day for 4.5 months, 3 of which then tried to make this journey by themselves to go save their people. As soon as they got back, after all this was over, World War I's happening, they all signed up and left for war. So, ladies and gentlemen, true men. Yeah. I don't think it has anything to do with masculinity. It's just like that doesn't exist anymore, and it hasn't for a long time.
Tyler, would you do it?
Tyler barely go walk out in the parade in the snow with us.
Tyler barely makes it here by 9 a.m. every day.
But anyway, there's so much to talk about in this documentary because I love this story, and I thought the documentary is phenomenal, and that's what we're going to do today. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio, episode 216, Dark Side of the Stream. We did Endurance on Disney Plus. It's a Discovery series, or Neo Geo. Maybe it was Nat Geo.
Yeah, I think it was originally Nat Geo.
Anyway, it's on Hulu, Disney Plus.
It's cool because it shows the old stuff, and they actually have camera footage from these dudes being trapped in the ice. And this is like, what, in early 1900s?
1914.
Like, amazing.
Shackleton was extremely forward-thinking in the sense that if it didn't exist on film. It didn't exist. That's what he thought.
Right.
So in addition to obviously scientists, meteorologists, and then captains and all the guys, ship guys, he had someone on there that was an incredible photographer who would carry around these cameras and the video cameras, the latest technology they had to document this entire thing. When you read the book, and they don't go into this in the documentary, but in the book, it is definitely put forth that was probably, besides the loss of life, the most important thing to Shackleton, because if he didn't come back with the proof of what had happened and what they went
nobody
through,
would believe.
didn't
No one
exist.
would believe this
It was
story.
just like, oh, they just got lost for 2 years.
Well, that's good, because I was curious. Like, you would think you're at death's door for months. Hey, stop filming, dude. Let's get rid of the camera because we got to deal with this.
He knew
man.
that it was extremely important, because not only that, if he was to come back and get more funding to try to do this again, he had to prove that it in fact happened. This is what it was, and et cetera, et cetera. That part of it was extremely smart on their part. And then again, the other thing where he knew that, even like, for example, after they had become trapped in ice and they decided the ship was about to go down and they needed to move as close to Elephant Island as they possibly could get, they started dragging these boats, these lifeboats, over the ice. They realized that, well, first of all, they told them all no more than 2 pounds per person, which is literally nothing. But then when the banjo player was about ready to ditch his banjo, he's like, no, bring it. And how
banjo,
important that was for those guys.
Yeah.
So, there are captains that are extremely stern, but I think that Shackleton was smart in the idea that he understood his men and what would get you through
to keep
the worst possible
keep the morale
times.
high, even in the worst situation.
And time again, he proved that he
Sign of a good leader. Sign of a good leader.
He colossally failed on so many different levels when it came to this thing, where like the whaling guys were like, hey, wait a minute. I know you guys are down here. You might want to all end up. We're going. And all these other things that he didn't succeed at. But what he truly succeeded at was the fact that all of these guys got out alive, which is just an incredible miracle after everything that they did. But at the same time, you're learning about the story about the Endurance with Shackleton and his crew, but then you're also learning about this expedition to go discover it in 2 miles of ocean.
Modern day expedition going to find it. So they'd cut back and forth.
Yeah, and so cool. You see how there are these parallels. And even though, again, when Shackleton and these dudes did it, their navigators didn't have GPS, didn't have satellite trajectory. I mean, the guys in the new one are like, they could take real-time satellite photos of
where the heated little boat, like
where the ice pack's going and all this stuff. But like his navigator,
I still wouldn't go in these conditions. Modern day, I wouldn't do it.
They got a helicopter pad. They fly your Princess S out of there.
I wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Jay would do but won't do, which is hilarious to me.
Like meatloaf.
Climb high places.
No.
You don't hike.
I don't like heights.
He won't do it. Roller coasters?
Yeah.
So, but that's a height, though.
Yeah, but I think I'm kind of strapped in, and I'm assuming it's safe.
Yeah, strap him in. The navigator for the original expedition, without satellite, GPS, any of that stuff, he was in 400 meters.
Yeah, you got him right there, man.
He was within 400 meters. After he still didn't have a point of origin, he just guessed it based on what he knew. Dude. Again, intelligence. And I think we're as a society, doing ourselves a disservice so much by relying on so many of these things. Like, you ask a kid, where's the North Star, Tyler? Yeah.
There you go.
You're screwed. You're screwed. Kid in his early 20s. North Star to guide you. Like, none. Just Google it. Once the computers take over and they take this stuff back, these kids are so screwed. But I'm not, because I was a Boy Scout. Either way, Jay and I will be back Dark Side of the Stream next on 104.7 The Cave.
What is the North Star?
Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back Dark Side of the Stream episode 216, Endurance on Disney Plus or Hulu. So, of course, you follow, again, like we said, the parallels of both stories, the expedition that Shackleton took, and then, of course, the expedition that these guys who, one of them said it was his 25th time to Antarctica.
Yeah.
And he goes,
these guys are nuts, dude.
But that's the thing. He talks about it. the guys, that was another thing. The records that the expedition took were incredible. The meteorologist stuff they had was incredible. That was actually how they were able to find the ship, because they plugged in all of his markings, and based off of their markings and the whaler's markings, they put it into a model, an AI model, and it basically told them
Here's
exactly
where you go.
based on where it would have moved.
Sure enough.
They knew exactly where it was.
Sure enough.
And it's crazy how they were able to do that. But again, these guys were pretty close, and they didn't have any of that stuff. But they also just used their brain. But
I like how they started going crazy and they all shaved their heads and
you have to do everything you can.
dressed one up like a woman, and he would perform for that dance.
But again, when you read this book or watch a documentary, you really understand what they faced. Now, you're like, oh, okay, it sucks. They lost their ship. Well, they had lifeboats to get out of there. No. They had to transverse a frozen ocean to get to a place called Elephant Island, which was, again, not a great place anywhere. And then once they realized how screwed they were, they only had like 4 weeks worth of food. The captain, Shackleton, and I believe his navigator got one of the life dinghies, and just think, I can't. I mean, it's
small,
like almost like an ocean kayak with a sail on it.
Okay.
They then get in the water in the wintertime in one of the most treacherous oceans in the entire planet, and somehow get across.
I don't know how they.
And the
made
way
that
in freezing water, they don't sleep, and even after these waves almost destroy them, and it's well described in the book. They get to South Georgia at night, and they have to stay there all night long, because they can't go into this place at dark, because if they hit a rock, they're done and it's over. So then after they go through that, they realize they're on the wrong side of the island and they have to walk it. They have screws in the bottom of their boots, and that's how they 3 times traverse a mountain, realize they're going up wrong, going up wrong, going up, and on the 3rd time get to the top. Yeah. Then they realize we're not prepared to be at this altitude. We're slowing down. We're getting too cold. We have to get down. So they basically tie the 3 of them together, create a makeshift bobsled, and slide 3 miles down a mountain and somehow survive it. And then after that, finish walking the rest of the island, where, by the way, all of the whalers had told them, we don't go there.
Don't go there.
They live on this island, and they had told them, we don't go that way. But these guys came back that way, showed up, and then the next day got their boy that they had to drop off because he had frostbite and wasn't good, got him, and then spent the next 4 months getting any government that would help him, which would end up being Chile, giving him a boat.
Guys.
4 attempts, and on the 4th one got back and saved them all.
Unbelievable.
A miracle.
Unbelievable.
A miracle. And then after all that, they got home, cleaned up, and went to World War I, where a few of them would lose their lives, some would be injured, and then
after all that.
Yeah, all of them served, even Shackleton, which like I said, they don't make them like they used to, and they definitely don't make them like this anymore. We'll be back with our reviews of the Endurance next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 216. This week it was Endurance. I would give this thing a solid 5 because it just...
You're very passionate about this one.
It speaks to me in ways that most things don't speak to me anymore. And it's not a question of they don't make it like they used to. It is a question of there are literally no people on this planet, with the exception of probably a handful, that understand what it was like to not just be this guy, but like serve, be leaders in that sense.
Yeah, there's probably some SEALs or some, heavy-duty military guys that are this caliber.
And maybe guys that go on expeditions that understand it. Some of the free climb guys, but like that, it doesn't
lost
exist.
Art, I think. Yeah, I didn't touch me as deeply as touched you. I was given a solid 4. But I had
That's still a high score for us.
But I had to deduct a point because they were wearing COVID masks in this thing. 6 of them in a ship going to the ice, and they're wearing COVID masks. Dude, that's a fraud. Come on, dude.
I had no
That's just optics.
Dude, that's hilarious.
I have to take away a point for that.
It's so funny.
When I watch documentaries and they're wearing COVID masks, especially in a situation like this, nope, I'm out, man.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I deducted.
I didn't even notice it.
I noticed that, so...
He doesn't know where the North Star is. But if you're wearing a COVID mask, watch out.
Fraud.
That's crazy. I didn't even notice because, again, that's such a non-part of the story at all.
I
thought you were going to say, oh, they were wearing Adidas shoes, man, and I don't mess with Adidas. Nike only, baby, or Pumas.
Who knew?
I only wear Pumas. I was like, what? They were wearing Adidas.
Who knew?
Oh, my God. All right.
Okay, so for my pick, my gosh, I watched 2 documentaries. One, it was a crazy, crazy story, but I don't want to do it to you because it's like 10 episodes
No,
and it
please,
still
God,
doesn't
no.
stop. But it's a crazy story. So what I'm going to do is go soft, easy, the Jerry Springer documentary.
Hey, I just saw a preview for that.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I love to talk about
Nice.
late night TV again.
Yeah, it was
another show that
easy,
I watched
easy watch,
late
easy watch.
night.
Yep, we all watched Jerry Springer. Everybody
Burning
knows
brain
Jerry Springer.
cells and everything else.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't
Easy
wait to
one. It's on
discuss that
Netflix.
and that piece of our history, which doesn't exist anymore. As always, you can watch us do this live every Thursday, 9 a.m. on YouTube or Facebook. We upload it as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app for free.
You can listen to it on the air for free.
Yep. I play it during my show at 9. Jay plays it during his show at 6 every Thursday. It's Dark Side of the Stream. We watch
Documentaries
movies so you don't have to on 104.7 The Cave.
True.